If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Mr. Wilson would've known.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yahweh's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Mr. Wilson would've known.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yahweh's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Mr. Wilson would've known.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yahweh's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Mr. Wilson would've known.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yahweh's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Mr. Wilson would've known.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yahweh's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was.
All praises to the Most High, all praises. Well, welcome to another session, another, room 144. Most High willing brothers and sisters across the globe are having a blessed Sabbath, or will begin to have a blessed Sabbath as the sun goes down. This evening, the title of what we're covering is, Am I About My Father's Business? So it's a question, right? Are we about our Father's business? Which, is off of Luke 2. When, Yahweh Shai responded to his parents like, man, what do you want me to be? Where do you want me to be at? You know that I'm about my Pa's business. So let's open it up because, you could go into different aspects of this. My main thing is trying to remind ourselves what this really looks like, because it's I don't know how many brothers and sisters are aware, but man, souls be dropping left and right, You got to be aware when the scriptures say, know the state of thy flock. Sometimes we come, we go, we come, we go. We got to really observe, like, hey, what's up with this person? What's up with that person? When you have certain conversations with people, you already see where they're headed, You need to encourage them as much as possible, right? But again, the will of the Most High is going to be done, because whatever we do, whatever our true intentions are, they're going to come to be, right? They're going to manifest. So let's open up with Deuteronomy 30 and 1. We're going to do some reading tonight.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither the Lord thy God had driven thee, and shall return unto the Lord thy God, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day.
So for people, sometimes they ask, when is this going to happen? Didn't this already happen? Spring comes and goes, right? Summer comes and goes, right? You start, you're born, you go through your stages, right? You grow, and then you wither away, just like trees, plants, and so forth. So this is one thing we got to always understand. Sometimes we look at the Bible like, oh, that happened already. Or when is that going to happen? It's constantly happening. Constantly happening. That's why, the understanding of regeneration, we really got to understand what that looks like, right? Regenerating. You're here, you were one generation, and then somehow down the line, perhaps if it's the will of the Most High, you will return, right? But whatever you do here in this life, which is all we know, right? We got to make sure we do our best. Because the scriptures tell you the wicked, right, is what? To the righteous. It is ransom, right? Ransom to the righteous. So either we're going to be ransom or we're going to be righteous. It's only two choices. All throughout the scriptures, there's only been two choices. Either you choose life or you choose death, which is, if you know what this chapter talks about, that's what we're going to sum it up with. But the Most High says, look, this is going to happen. Because our people look at it like, oh, you know what? Okay, the curses, we're in the curses. Eventually, we're going to see the blessings. But we already did that plenty of times. Book of Judges, you see it plenty of times. Our history, you see it plenty of times. Right? We had righteous leaders. You saw righteousness for a good period of time. You had wickedness amongst the leaders, amongst the judges. Then you saw that. And it happens at the same time now when you look at it. Back in the day, we had two kingdoms, right? So you had the northern kingdom, the southern kingdom. If you look at the history after, Jeroboam and Rehoboam, right, the split, you see how in the north, it was constant wickedness. Was everybody wicked? No. Right? But the majority of the people were. In the south, the majority were unrighteous, trying to live a righteous lifestyle. So different things are happening at the same time. Just how in the globe right now, you have maybe spring on one side, on one end, and you have, winter on the other end. But it's happening at the same time. So we got to look and consider these things. So the scripture said right here, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, right? The blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee. This happened plenty of times. We hear. So we got to look at it, okay, how does this connect with my life? How does this relate to me, right? Then he says, read to what?
Verse 2. And shall return unto the Lord thy God, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day.
So it says, after all these things happen, the blessing and the curse and the blessing, however you came into, right? Because we got brothers that came, we could talk about that, came into a blessed condition. They were born into the truth, brothers and sisters. Now they get older, they could choose to go back into the filth that they never knew, but they knew existed their whole life, right? So it's happening. We're living it. Go ahead.
Thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul. That then the Lord thy God will return thy captivity and have compassion upon thee.
Okay, so look at that, right? You got to look and really analyze that. It says, read 2 again from the top.
Verse 2. And shall return unto the Lord thy God, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day. Thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul.
So it says, after you've gone through all these things and you come back and return unto the Most High, right? With all thine heart and all thy soul. Read 3.
Verse 3, that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy God had scattered thee.
So what happens if we don't ever return? What happens if we don't ever come through wholeheartedly and really seek the Most High? Not only that, read that again, 3.
Verse 3, that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity.
So he's saying now he will turn your captivity. You know, if you look back at your life, if you've been here for a couple of even months, now years, you can see the difference. You can see your state of mind. The stuff that you used to worry about back in the day is nothing anymore. It should be. Shouldn't be anything, right? You look at now you have different issues that you're trying to overcome. That's how it should be. Back in the world, we'd be thinking like, man, why do these things happen to me? Why me? Without no answers, right? Now we know, like, you know what? It's part of the sentence that our forefathers, right, gain. And now we serving that time plus whatever we, added to that plate. So now the Most High says, then will I have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations wherever he has scattered us. It's happening. We live in it. So then if we're living all these things, everything else that the scriptures are talking about, how come plenty of us disregard? Right? Going back to the righteous, right? The wicked being ransom unto the righteous, or for the righteous. We think about these things. We talk about them. Brothers teach on it. And then we go back to wickedness. We go back to the ways that are not of the Most High. And then we still think we're going to get away, and that we're going to make it, and that we're in the truth, and that we're about our Father's business, when we're not. But we lie to ourselves, and we create these lies and make them our truth. Not his truth, not the truth, right? But our truth. Go ahead.
Verse 4, if any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers.
So that's a promise. Go to Romans right quick. This is what we got to understand when we're reading through these scriptures. When you talk to somebody, you know that they're looking at this as quote-unquote religion still. The questions that they ask, right? Their concerns. At that point, it's like you got to do your best to try to, let them know exactly what this is. It's true religion, the scripture says, is the true belief, right? What we practice. But when we practice in sincerity, we could have fringes all day and be wicked, right? We could keep the Sabbath and still be wicked. We could do most of this law and still be wicked. We got to look at it is our culture, right? And is the business of the Most High is what he requires from us. The only reason why we're here, like Ecclesiastes 12 and 13 states, is to what? To fear the Most High, right? And to keep his commandments. For that is our duty. It says our duty. So if we don't do our works, our part, then we're going to read it in a minute. We read it all the time, right? 2 choices, life or death. So go to Romans, go to Romans 9 and read 4 through 5.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 9 and verse 4. Who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of God, and the promises, whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Christ came.
Imagine all that, right? Take time and meditate on that whenever you get back home. It started off with saying, who are Israelites? It's not a question, it's stating. It's a statement. It's telling you, who are Israelites? My kinsmen, right? Those of my flesh, my bone, my DNA, my lineage. Who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of the Most High, and the promises, whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Hamashiach Yahushai came, who is over all, God bless forever. Right? So going back to what we were reading in Deuteronomy 30. 5.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30 and verse 5. And the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it. And he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers.
That's a promise. That's part of the covenant. If we do right, right? If we about his business. Not only on Saturdays, not only whenever we want to show up to the congregation, right? No, it's a daily thing. It's constant. While you sleeping. Imagine you go to sleep and you're having these wicked dreams and being wicked in your dreams. That's dangerous. You're supposed to be a new man. When these things are happening, man, snap out of that dream. Once you wake up, send them up. Fast if need be, right? If you're having these thoughts when temptation hits and you're about to, fail and backslide, and guess what? You got to ask the Most High to strengthen you. You got to be involved. Be like, you know what? Let me be around people that are actually going to check me, correct me, and more than likely, these circumstances are not going to be around me because they're not about that. They're about the business. And there's so much work to be done that, you know what? when you busy, is there time for nonsense? Not at all. A lot of times you don't even have time to rest. So when you go to sleep, you sleep good. The Most High says, those that are my kids, man, my children, they sleep good. Those that are trouble is because they too caught up in the world. You out there having too much time to do you instead of doing the Most High's business, right? So this is what it's saying. Look, these are the promises. And the Most High is going to come through and multiply thee above thy fathers. Think about that. Our fathers were beyond blessed, those righteous ones. Now he's saying he going to, as generations continue to exist, he says those next generations are going to be even better if they're righteous. Go from there, continue.
Verse 6. And the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed.
So that's the process that we're going through when we start living this life, for real though. We're not here because, my mom told me my pops is here, my husband is here, well, my father and my mother are here, I really don't want to be here. You're playing yourself. You should pray to look around and be like, you know what, Abba, give me the spirit so I'm actually somebody that's going to be, people are going to be able to look back on and be like, you know what, that brother, that sister, they were righteous. They had their ups and downs, but guess what? At the end of the day, they overcame, and look at them. Look at all the good they did for the people of the Most High. Because when you do the good to the people of the Most High, you're doing it unto Him. That's what Yahweh Shai said. It's that easy. But a lot of times we're seeking the Most High, and we look around and look at the people like, you know what? I can't stand these folks. Well, then you can't stand the Most High according to the Scriptures. If you can't love the brother that you're able to see, your brother that you live amongst, you cannot love the Father. It's impossible, right? So it says he would circumcise, right? Meaning he would cleanse our mind. All the wickedness that we've been programmed to understand and live by, he says, I'm deprogramming you through this word. So now when you have this word, your state of mind is different. Imagine our state of mind in the hood, just here in America, in the States. They played us the way they dealt with us, giving us this little bit of help, giving us this messed up education, giving us all this entertainment, all these drugs, right? All these weapons in the hood. What do you call them? The bywords, right? That we base a culture off of nowadays. Because when you look at Israel, we don't create, for the most part, as a society, as a nation, we don't create positive bywords for us. I mean, the byword is something for the most part negative, right? All these, what do you call them? Stereotypes, whether Southern Kingdom or whether Northern Kingdom. And we right here in Cali, we stop at black and Mexican. You go to the East Coast, you got Cubans, you got Dominicans, you got Jamaicans, you got Haitians, you got everything, right? You start traveling, you start seeing the differences. And you see the same people that you see here, they live different right up north. They don't have the beefs amongst each other that we have down here. You go to Texas, everybody cool. Not like cool, but I'm saying amongst, so-called blacks and Latinos, or Mexicans, because that's what everybody wants to classify, right? Latinos. Nah, it's really Mexicans when you think about it, for the most part. Yeah. But the whole point is that we have been played. So what we look at, right? Stupid is not cute. But some women think, or young girls, ladies be like, oh, I play dumb. That's kind of cute. Yeah, it might be cute to some dummies, but it's not cute to the Most High. It's not cute to or right or anything positive in the eyes of a righteous person. So then you continue that cycle that we've been in for at least a couple decades, because I could say going back to the 60s, right, it was a little different. Then from then to this point, it's like every generation it gets worse. Every generation we distance ourselves more and more from the Most High. So then but on the other end, we hear, this is the closest I ever been to the Most High. Because this is the most that I've known of my culture and the Most High and His laws and the people. Back in the day, man, even in the truth, it wasn't the truth. We were getting there, right? As a lot of people, man, I'll be like, man, you're what do you call it? Spoiled. You're privileged to be where you're at right now. Fortunate to be coming into the state of Israel that at least out here we have this present day. A lot of bodies didn't make it from back in the day. A lot of people are still thinking the way from back in the day that was not the way of the Most High. It's like when you go into a trade, again, being about the Father's business. You come through as an apprentice. What does the word apprentice mean? Aprendiendo, you're learning, right? You're supposed to be instructed. You're coming through under a journeyman, under somebody that knows what's up, and you're learning, right? Just like in the scriptures. You had the rabbi and you had the disciples, right, that were learning from the teacher. It's the same with us. It's the same with everything, right? So as we go in and we understand, it's like, okay, you know what? Now my heart is circumcised. Whenever something drops and stains it, I got to make sure I clean it up and get rid of it. That's what, again, it says in the scriptures, do everything decently and in order. That's a big one that we lack. Order, we lack. Both of them, decently and in order. We do things a la brava. That's how you say it in Spanish. Como caiga. It's like, whatever, just get it done. No, winging it. No, set up a plan, think about it, and go ahead and handle it. The scriptures tell you, before you think about it, before you build, think about it. Are you going to be able to accomplish this and this and this, right? So it's different things that we learn about in the scriptures. Then again, if our state of mind is focused the way it's supposed to be, I might not get to it, but if you look at Proverbs 31, again, it's crazy how so many years I've been around and it's something offensive for a lot of the people walking in this truth. When you look at Proverbs 31, it's like, man, this is what and I'm talking as far as the aspect of the female, right? This is what every sister should be on. And obviously everybody's going to have the different offices, but at least be like, you know what, that's my lane. I'm going to go ahead and learn that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Every little bit counts at the end of the day. In the New Testament, it says everybody has different offices, right? Just make sure you have an office, because then if you're a busybody, Thessalonians tells you, look, get rid of them. If you don't work, you don't eat. And not only the work that we go out there, right, 9 to 5, that's not what it's talking about. This work right here, because we're building the nation. We're building His people, His kingdom, right? Rehearsing the righteous acts. So He says He would circumcise our heart, get us back into, the state of mind that we're supposed to be in, and not only us, but also our seeds. Go ahead.
To love the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live.
So there you go. When you know if you love the Most High with all thy heart and all thy soul, and you know when you're BSing. And then if you have kids, you see it in them. And if you're not correcting that, it should be to a point where if you're coming off, if you're doing something off, not falling off, if you're doing something off, something minor, your son, your daughter should tell you. It happens here. You hear little kids correct older folks. That's the state of mind. That's why it says in the scripture, the iron sharpeneth iron. It's best, when you're amongst two. It says you fall, somebody else picks you up. That's not only in a couple situation. marital. No, it's like, you know what, I'm falling off, the brother could check me and get me back up, encourage me to continue on. As the community. Why it's so necessary for us to have that community. You look at the Native Americans, for example, right? Talking about us, because I mean, you look at everybody else, for the most part, the majority of them, like the Italians, you know where the Italians live. Think about the Armenians, you know where they live. Persians, you know where they live, right? All these different, the Indians, right? Africans, they're all in their communities, looking out for their people, which is being racist. You looking out for yourself, your own. It's like your family, you're looking out for you. Back in the day, we had black neighborhoods. We had Latino, Hispanic neighborhoods. We had a mix of both of them where we were looking out for each other. That's what we're to do. But then we get brainwashed, right, to start hating each other. We don't even know why, but it worked, right? So this is what we're talking about right now, circumcising the heart. We start thinking different. I talked to some brothers this week, right? They were rival in the world, and in prison, they share a cell. Imagine that. And they're learning and studying the word together. Enemies in the world now, guess what? With the same mission. That's beautiful, right? But we shouldn't have gotten to that point in the first place. But again, we're victims in a sense of our ignorance. But now once we have this, if we continue to be victims, it's by choice. There's no more innocent bystanders, right? We making a choice, because in reality we never had. There was always two choices. That was it. So continue on up.
Verse 7, and the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee.
We love that. We would love that, right? You see it happening. If you're really open to the spiritual realm, you see it happening. My brother always says it when we see something. Look at that. The curses are reversing. The curses, the tables are flipping. All praises. But you recognize that. You see that. When you see that, you guess what? Your state of mind is looking at the big picture. Instead of focusing on your little, which might be big in your life, losses or shortcomings, you're like, you know what? I'm cool. I'm serving the term. I'm serving the sentence. But while I'm serving this, I know that I'm closer to going back home, right? To being on the other side. Instead of being on the curse side, I'm going to be on the blessed side. I mean, I see it here. I've seen it every year, right? Things that we would talk about and you would just be like, yeah, right. All right, well, guess what? Right, they're happening. They're here. They've been happening. But that's because somebody or somebody's had a vision and continue to push. They didn't let none of the things that happen in their lives or to their loved ones affect them. Of course, you got to, deal with it, but you don't dwell on it, right? Continue on.
Verse 8, and thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord, and do all his commandments which I command thee this day. And the Lord thy God will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand.
Look at that. And every what?
In every work of thine hand.
But if you're a sloppy worker, what do you think is going to happen? If you don't show up, if you show up with a bad attitude, if you show up and you don't want to learn, if you show up and say, well, that's not my side, I'm this, I don't deal with that. If you're making excuses constantly and be like, you know what, I don't really like the foreman. I don't like the project manager. Those ideas are off. Man, we lacking this, we lacking that. The scriptures talk about war. When you have fear, it says stay home. Because if not, you're going to what? Spread that spirit amongst the brethren. You come with that mentality, guess what? Instead of adding positivity and encouragement onto whatever the situation may be, right? You become a plague. You're cancerous now. So, again, read that part.
Verse 9, And the Lord thy God will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land for good. For the Lord will again rejoice over thee for good.
Imagine that. So he's not happy right now. We could read it in Hosea 4. It says the Most High is upset, highly upset at the inhabitants of this world. And he is not talking about the world. He's talking about Israel, because that's what matters. Everybody else does not matter. He says, I'm upset, highly upset at Yasharallah. We're reading it right here. Imagine, we in Deuteronomy, right? Hosea states that. That's way down the line, hundreds of years afterwards, right? So now it said, all the works of thy hand were going to be plenteous, right? When you read what we just read right now, we go to the market for a piece of steak. Now imagine having 20 cows. A brother has 20, another brother has 15, the other brother, I mean, you look at Lot in, what was his name? It was Abraham, right? Abraham and Lot. They had plenty, and that's just 2 instances, right? It was plenty of our brethren back in the day. You know? It's like, man, you feel that security. Imagine your kids, your next generations. You think they got to worry about going and clocking in to a 9 to 5? Or about their future, right? This is the state of mind that we were on back in the day. Because it said, let me see. Read 9 again.
Verse 9. And the Lord thy God will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand.
Okay, it says, and the Lord. So it's saying, and something that was being spoken before, right? So read 8.
Verse 8. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord, and do all his commandments which I command thee this day.
So it ain't talking about college and education. Not that we against it. That's good. But it's not. That's not the focus. He's not telling you, well, if you go and graduate, get your doctorates, get your degrees, then. No, he says, if you obey and you love me with all thine heart and all thy soul, right? Then, guess what? It's like Joshua 1 and 8. Read Joshua 1 and 8 right quick, huh?
This is the book of Joshua, chapter 1 and verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, and that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous.
So again, the same thing. It says, if you meditate in this book of the law day and night, meaning that's a lifestyle. You don't just meditate on it and put it away and then go about your business. No. That means that your whole focus is pleasing the Most High. Your whole focus is learning your culture. Your whole focus is, how am I in line with these scriptures? And when you don't know something, you ask. And once you ask and get the response, get the answer, then you go ahead, and if you still have issues with it, meditate, pray, right? But again, there's only so many issues you could have, because at the end of the day, your feelings, your emotions don't matter when you're going against the Most High. The what ifs, they don't matter. It's like, all right, Abba, yeah, you know. All right, let me just handle what I gotta handle then. Let me do what I gotta do. You know, you go to a job, they tell you gotta be here at 5. You don't tell them, that's too early. Can I come in at 7? And they give you a schedule. The only thing you're gonna, talk to them about is, nope, not on the Sabbath and not on the feast days. Right? Because like Yahweh Shai said, render unto Caesar what is of his, but unto the Most High what is of the Most High's. Again, Abba's business. But other than that, it's like, nah, bro, you coming in, or you don't take the job, right? But the whole point is that you don't tell the employer what to do. You don't tell the Most High, look, can I bend this right here and do this instead of that? Can I put a red ribbon instead? Can I put a pink ribbon instead of a blue one? Right? But Israel does that. Instead of this day being the rest, the Sabbath, how about I do this instead? Things happen, and then you see how the cookie crumbles at the end, right? Because if you're not with the Most High, you against them. It's that simple. But you out here still trying to figure it out, go try to act like you deep. You got this crazy breakdown that the Most High is only dealing with you. No, man, the Most High, man, willing, I get to it. Let me continue on. Go ahead, I'll continue.
For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success.
Yeah, go back to 30. So you see that? If you obey and meditate in the laws of the Most High, it says, then ye will have good success. Then everything's going to be good. All your endeavors, man, you're going to succeed. You're going to, again, look at our forefathers. And you see the examples that they left. Even with the Maccabees, for example, right? You saw an example of a warrior. You saw a brother that got fooled and the things that happened. He still had a warrior spirit, though, but he got caught up. And then you look at Simon at the end, how he was able to bring peace. And not even so much, yeah, he was still warring, right? But he did more mentally, planning things out and creating alliances, which got him to have a longer state of peace for Israel. So it's different ways. Different people work differently, right? So the scriptures say, covet the best gifts. But you know what we do as Israel? We look at the flaws of the people that are pretty exceptional and focus on those things instead of coveting their best gifts. Man, we backwards. It says the donkey and the ass are smarter than Israel. The two of the dumbest animals. We always trying to point the finger. What's wrong with this? What's wrong with her? What's wrong with him? This ain't right. That ain't right. And at the end, it only affects you. Right? It only affects you because if you're busy, you're going to try to encourage, if anything. Yeah, there's correction that you do, but at the end of the day, you know what? I know my brother's here. He's going through something. He's having difficulties and whatever the situation may be, right? Let me encourage him. Let me see how I could help the brother, how I could help this sister. But at the same time, you can't, BS or sugarcoat anything. Yeah, there's a way of relaying the message, but the thing about Israel, the Most High was not playing, and we're going to get that in a minute. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 9.
Yep.
And the Lord thy God will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, in the fruit of thy land for good. For the Lord will again rejoice over thee for good, and as he rejoiced over thy fathers.
You see that? Obviously the righteous ones, right? You say he's going to be good with you. Just how he was with David, right? And all the righteous kings, all the righteous prophets. He was happy with them. Because guess what? Like a father is, right? You got sons and daughters that obey you, you're good. Even the situation when the prodigal son came back. He threw a feast. He threw a party for the brother, for his son. The other one was upset, like, how come you didn't throw one for me? You never asked. You've been here. You could have asked. Man, I would have had a feast for you. But we be like that other brother. Man, he back. Look at, he got a feast. He got, he never did that for me. Well, you never asked. And he's telling you, I could do it for you. You could do it for yourself. You're here. You've been here. But we upset sometimes at, people coming back in and prospering in this walk. When we should be like, you know what? All praises. The angels rejoice over one brother, one sister that returns. So these are the things that we got to put in our mind instead of dwelling on the pettiness of our lives. Be like, nah, it's bigger than me. It says it's bigger than me. I don't really have time for these because at the end of the day, these emotions and these feelings, they're just setbacks that at the end, if you give it too much power, they throw you out. And once you're out, your state of mind is still like, well, I'm in this, I'm in that. It was their fault. I left the truth because of this. I did this because of that. Well, you offended me these many times, so I had to go and kill myself by committing stuff that is worthy of death. True stories. They happen all the time, every year. And it's sad, man, because we're not happy here. The Most High is like, nah, man, if it was up to me, every single one of you guys would make it. My end for you is a good end. I expect for you to make it. Said the promises are there, but it's two sides to it, right? You obey, you're good. I'm going to bless you. You disobey, I'm going to bless you as well. I'm going to bless you with something that's not what you want. I'm going to recompense you with what it is that you need to hopefully get you back on. Mercy is his, right? So continue on.
Verse 10. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which are written in this book of the law, and if thou turn unto the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul,
We read that like about 3 times, right? Go ahead.
for this commandment which I command thee this day, is it not hidden from thee, neither is it far off?
Read that again, 11 from the top.
Verse 11. For this commandment which I command thee this day, it is not hidden from thee.
He's letting you know, listen, this Bible, you have plenty of Bibles. You have apps now. There's no secret matter. No secret thing. It's not hidden from you, right? Go ahead.
Neither is it far off.
Go ahead.
Is it not in heaven that thou shouldest say,
It said it is not. Read 12 again.
verse 12, it is not in heaven that thou shouldest say, who shall go up for us to heaven and bring unto us that we may hear it and do it? Neither is it beyond the sea that thou shouldest say, who shall go over the sea for us and bring it unto us that we may hear it and do it?
Boy, Abba knows his kids, right? He's like, I know you're going to try to make excuses. Guess what? It's not way up in the heavens and it's not on the other side or in the ocean. You have it in your hand right now. You have it in your phones. You have plenty of them, I'm pretty sure. It's right here in the book. It says, so there's no excuses, Israel. It's right here. And at that time, he was, through the prophet Moses, letting us know. Nothing new under the sun, right? Continue on.
Verse 14, but the word is very nigh unto thee, in thy mouth and in thy heart.
So it says it's very close to you. It's in thy mouth and in thine mind. Go ahead.
That thou mayest do it. See, I have set before thee this day life and good, and death and evil.
So he's coming at you again, at us. Listen, this whole law that you got right here is nothing crazy. It's nothing that you got to go and search for, right? Go on a treasure hunt. No, it's right in front of you. It's right here, and it's in your mouth and it's in your mind. Then he says, see, I have set before thee this day life and good, and death and evil. Go ahead.
In that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply, and the Lord thy God shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it.
So again, no excuses. That's why Yahweh Shai had to come back. And that's why Yahweh Shai said, what? Why are you looking for me? Are you not aware I'm about my father's? I must be about my father's business. Must. Like it's not a choice. We must be about his business if we seek the promises, if we want a chance at the kingdom, if we want a good life. But some of us get stuck like, well, my life is this, my life is that. I never had this, I could never accomplish that. That's your state of mind. You are what you think. You wake up in the morning negative, guess what? It's going to be a negative day for you. You wake up and show up with enthusiasm, guess what? It's going to be good. And you're going to spread that. You're going to spread that negative emotion, the negative feeling, right? Negative spirit, and you're going to spread that positive spirit at the same time. Not at the same time, as well. Whatever you carry. You know, that's why you had a favorite teacher back in the day. There was a way they dealt with you. They weren't, you know, the usual boring type ways that, you know, the school may have. They had a way to instruct you. They had a way to connect with you. When you start understanding the Most High, it's like, yeah, you know what? I don't seek anything else unless your spirit is contrary to what he, you know, what his is and what he desires from us. Because that's the thing, we fool ourselves. A lot of us, man, you know what? I miss this. You don't say it, but your actions reveal it. You miss this, you miss that. You want to go back to doing certain things, and you see it in the way that the way we lack. A lot of us are irresponsible in certain things. When you're about the Most High's business, imagine we living in a place where you could go to a restaurant, right? And things are polluted. You might order something that was not polluted a couple days ago, but now it is. So how many of us are constantly thinking about small things like that, right? Because we at war right here against principalities, against these powers of darkness, right? This world is ruled by darkness. Every aspect of this world is ruled by darkness. They're talking about by 2030, they don't want to have, no more farms and stuff like that. And you hear it, you heard it years ago, but back in the day, conspiracy theory. Did that just happen? What was that guy buying? Right? There's certain people that control all the seeds. What have they been doing for years? The scriptures tell you that these things were going to happen. It says you were going to be, for a piece of bread, you were going to pay a day's worth, a week's worth. Terrors. Last I heard today and last night, he said, guess what? Spike them up again. It's just a game. But Job 9:24 already told you, guess what? This world has been given into the hand of the wicked. But that does not matter if we right with the Most High. He says, don't worry about it, because you got yours coming. If you stay on point with the Most High, guess what? He going to bless you regardless. Because when the terrors went way up in the days of Joseph, and there was nothing else around the land, guess what? Joseph was right there, second in command, and Israel made it through and got the best part of that place, right, with Goshen. And we thrive and we flourish. Why? Because the Most High was with us. No, we were with the Most High. The Most High is always going to be with us if we right. If we on point, guess what? You're going to see a patch of sand looking green in a couple of years, maybe less. He's going to bless us because nothing's impossible with the Most High. But a lot of us don't believe that, though, because of our state of mind. Too negative, right? Always playing the victim, making excuses instead of making a way. That's not a good servant. That's not a good employee. Continue on, Ak.
Deuteronomy 30 and verse 17. But if thine heart turn away, so thou wilt not hear, but shall be drawn away, and worship other gods, and serve them, I denounce unto you this day, that ye shall surely perish, and that ye shall not prolong your days upon the land, whither thou passest over the Jordan to go possess it.
So that was back then, but it's the same thing right now. You might be having it good for a minute, then all of a sudden you see and you hit a dead end. Yeah. Why? Because you're chasing happiness, whatever that is. Right? To a lot of us, happiness is whatever the world has painted as being happiness. Which, when you look at the world, it's crazy how you still believe that. Because half of this nonsense that they post and they show you, it's make-believe. It's Hollywood. It's fake. It's crazy how people go on vacations instead of enjoying their vacation. They're too busy trying to show the world how happy they are when they're really not. It's crazy. It's nuts. Because guess what? Somebody that's content, they're going to be happy at home. They're going to be happy with their family. They're going to be happy building a legacy. Because they see beyond what this fake place got for us, right? Or paints for us. You'd be like, man, you know what? Cool. My son, my daughter, my wife, my husband, my uncles, my grandfather, man, they're here. They're in tune. And at the end of the day, like we read in Romans, all the promises, they're coming forth. It's just a matter of time, right? Go ahead, I'll continue. Go to Proverbs 4, that was 17, right? No, you're at 18. Get Proverbs 4 and 2 real quick.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 1. Hear ye children the instruction of a father, and attend to know understanding. For I give you good doctrine, forsake ye not my law.
Exactly. So again, you got to hear the instructions of the Most High. You got to hear, and that means, okay, you know what, I'm good. I'm going to listen, and I'm going to follow through. Calmly. Don't be upset like, there again? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Because he's like, look, Cain did that. What happened to Cain? Well, I gave my offering. I got my fringes on. I got my beard. Man, what else do you want? We read about that in a couple of prophets where Israel was dealing with the Most High like that. Most High was like, man, really? This how you talking to me? That the one that's been good with you, the one that got you out of captivity, this how you going to deal with me? I bet. I got you. Because if you are old school and you're not even old school, if you just have common sense, because I see it on young brothers, young sisters, let your son or your daughter come talking to you like that. Well, you going to hug them? You're going to correct them. If you're a righteous brother or sister, you're going to correct them and check them. Because, at the end of the day, when they get older, it's going to be their downfall. If they even get older with that attitude. Right? But our people be like, no, we'll let them be. They got to find themselves. Who taught you that? It's not in the scriptures. You know who taught you that? The enemy that doesn't even do that with their kids. But they be playing you, and we, as a nation, like to get played, right? So go back to 18 now. Look at what 18 says, man. This is deep.
Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 18. I denounce unto you this day that ye shall surely perish, and that ye shall not prolong your days upon the land, whither thou passest over Jordan to go possess it.
Well, you heard that, right? Publicly. It says denounce, publicly declare. Right? He publicly declared to all of us, like, listen, I'm telling you, I'm promising you, I'm declaring publicly to every one of you that this is going to happen. You will perish. You will be utterly destroyed. We still don't believe it. We still don't get it. We still got a but. All the time. Okay, well, guess what? The Most High is not concerned with that. He's like, listen, I'm telling you publicly. But nobody said anything. Well, you weren't at the General Assembly? They have announcements after class. You didn't hear it? I mean, yeah, I was in there, but, well, guess what? That's what it was. That's why listening, paying attention is so crucial. Not only in here, but in everything in life. You go ahead and mess around because you thought. The hell with what you think is what you know, what it is, the instruction that was given. Well, I thought, I was supposed to observe on Sundays. I mean, every day was created by the Most High, so what if I just observe him on Sunday? Well, the scriptures also tell you that there's some days that are high days and some days that are regular days. The Most High set a difference, just how he set a difference between the nations. He said it's chosen, and then he said on these right here, they're nothing to me. You know that spit that you spit on the ground? They're less than that. You know that little drop of that comes out the bucket, the last drop? They're less than that. Are we going to have issues with the Most High? Okay, a lot of us do. And then at the end, we find out. Right? So he says he denounced. Read 18 again, Ak.
Verse 18. I denounce unto you this day that ye shall surely perish, and that ye shall not prolong your days upon the land, whither thou passest over Jordan to go possess it.
Go ahead, I'll finish it up. No, but continue on.
Verse 19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you.
So listen to the words that he's using. I denounce. I'm telling you, I'm stating it in general. Then before that, he says, don't make no excuse. It's not in the heavens that you got to go figure out how to get up there, or in the ocean or across the ocean. It's right here, right in front of you. And I'm telling you publicly, you will perish if you don't listen. Then now he says, I call heaven and earth to record this day. Go ahead.
Record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. That thou mayest love the Lord thy God, and thou mayest obey his voice, and that thou mayest cleave unto him, for he is thy life, and the length of thy days, that thou mayest dwell in the land whither the Lord sware unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them.
Okay, go to Jeremiah 29 real quick, just so you could understand the both ends, because people were like, well, we're not in Israel no more, so what does it matter? Because that's what a lot of people tell you. What if you're in this? What if I'm in this? Like what? What good is that? Well, guess what? Nothing changes whether you believe it or not. The Most High says these judgments are always going to be executed. So now, since we slipped up, right, and now we in captivity, what does it say? 29 and 4.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 29 and verse 4. Thus said the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives.
Away what?
Carried away captives.
We in captivity, right? What did he tell us?
Whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon.
So guess what? We slipped up. We didn't listen. So guess what he did? He took us captive into Babylon, right? Before that, we were already tossed into Assyria, the Assyrian captivity, right? Go ahead.
Verse 5. Build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. Take ye wives and beget sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that ye may be increased there and not
You
diminished.
see how his state of mind is always for you to continue to increase and not be diminished? It's like, all right, guess what? You slipped up, your forefathers, maybe you didn't. Maybe you did a little bit, but guess now that you're in captivity, serving your time, do this. Work. Work on what? Work on getting back and being better. You here, you in captivity, guess what? Build ye houses, plant ye gardens, depend on you. Obviously, through him, depend on the people, the nation of Israel. Again, we depend on the wrong people. Lamentations 5 and 17. We right here hoping on a nation that can't not help us. Right? We out here looking at and seeking for help from a people that don't want to help us. The only help that they want to give us, Psalms 83, is destroying us. That the name of Israel will no longer be in existence, right? They done great doing that. But guess what? Now we're fighting back, all praises to the Most High. And now understanding how to live in captivity. Finish that up. Yeah.
Verse 7. And seek the peace of the city whither I have caused you to be carried away captives, and pray unto the Lord
And
for
do what?
it. And pray unto the Lord for it. For in the peace thereof shall ye have peace.
That's how he commanded us to live in captivity. Obviously, that was the Babylonian captivity. I mean, what's the difference now, though? Back then, it was 70 years. Now we over 400. That's the difference. And it's more chaotic than back then, because back then we knew we had just came out of Israel. We knew where home was. We believed it, right? Now it's like, I don't know. I mean, but brothers say that. I'm from Compton. I'm from Watts. I'm from Long Beach. I don't know if I could really relate to Israel. Our people knew that. Like, man, you know what? I used to live right there by the, on the coast of the Mediterranean, right down the street from, Asher and the olive trees and all that bountiful, man, stuff that we had back in the day. Imagine how disconnected we are now. All we know is apartments, projects, slums, right? Ghettos. Imagine a gang of olive trees right by the Mediterranean coast where you saw your ships of your people go back and forth with commerce. All you know now is the port down the way, right? San Pedro and Long Beach, that you possibly, if you got lucky, you got a job at. Now, we used to own that back in the day. But again, once we understand our history, it's like, okay, you know what? This is what I'm working for. That's why in the scriptures, and I think it's in Corinthians, he's like, man, through my infirmities, through all the stuff that I go through, this is where I know that I'm strengthened, right? Just like how Yahushua went through things. All these things that we go through, these are the tests, these are the things that fortified us. So guess what? If we're not going through anything, guess what? How are you going to be? You're not going to get any better. If every day the same thing, the same routine, right? You're not tested, then you don't grow. And if you are tested and you don't want to go through it, you want to go around, guess what? You're not growing, right? Go from there out. Get 2nd Esdras 2nd Esdras 3. Before you read that, let me read this right quick. So I'm going to go over, the state of mind, if you want to call it a servant, a worker, an employee, right? It says this: a good employee generally possesses a growth mindset, believing that abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. Anybody that you see that's made something of themselves, that's what they've been doing. They didn't stick to the same job for 40, 50, 60 years, right? Especially if the job was minimum wage or whatever. Our brothers, our sisters back in the day, they were not about that. We read it right now. Your works, you get a plot of land. You start building. Whether back in the day or now, imagine okay, you know what, I'm going to set it up. I'm going to do a vineyard. Vineyard is going to bring you money, right? You're going to have wine, you're going to have grapes, or you're going to raise cattle. Again, mad money. Either you're going to slang the meat or you're going, possibly go in and do the dairy side of it. Chickens, we got a brother here that supplies birds to a big corporation, right? And eggs. And he's holding down congregations by doing that with his family. This is what we were about back in the day. And not only that, you could have businesses, whatever business it might be that you're in. But again, the state of mind of our people was not to just be employees and stay there. It was to develop the growth and succeed, right? So it says they see challenges as opportunities to learn and grow, not as barriers. This leads to a proactive and engaged state of mind, right? But a lot of us don't do that. A lot of us complain when we show up. A lot of us make excuses and reasons why we don't want to go back. Then it says the vision. It says they seeing challenges as opportunities. Good employees view difficulties and unexpected situations as chances to learn and develop new skills rather than obstacles and setbacks. Focus on solutions. Instead of dwelling on problems or assigning blame, they actively brainstorm and seek out creative solutions. We have Google nowadays. We have YouTube. All that, right? Hey, you don't know how to frame that? Guess what? Hey, search it out. Take some time before you show up the next day and figure it out. Even people tell you when you go to an interview, what should you do? If you're going to a certain company, you should know what the company's about, right? When you out there, when you end up interviewing them, that's how our people used to move. That's how our people that are always, thriving in this present day, that's how they move. Most High tells you, gives you that knowledge, gives you that wisdom. You read about these scriptures like, okay, you know what? The mom, both the ladies were fighting for the kid, right? One of them was lying, one wasn't. The one that wasn't was like, you know what? You could have the baby. Solomon was like, guess what? Give it to her. That's the mother right there. With that type of knowledge and wisdom and understanding, then guess what? I'm going to operate in this world. Supplanter. That was Jacob, right? Jacob means supplanter. That means that, you're not going to come through and do wickedness with it, but you know how to operate. You know how to move without breaking the law, without disobeying, without disrespecting the Most High. And you thrive. You start making moves. There's so many opportunities out there, but we stay stuck, and we stay comfortable a lot of times. Businesses, you'll hear, well, you know what? I took a leap of faith. What did Abraham do? He took a massive leap of faith, a whole lot. And what did he get? He got his whole lineage, right, for the Most High to give those promises and everything, all the blessings because of that leap of faith that he took. Now, guess what? It said it in Romans 9. Who are Israelites? It belongs to the Israelites, right? We have so much and still don't consider it. We still don't believe it. We be stuck on the little shortcomings that we have right here. This is nothing. That's why Yahweh Shai was like, man, I must be about my Father's business. He went through it, right? We read about it a couple times where it's like, man, in Mount Olives, he's right there. Like, man, Abba, you can't take this from me. But let thy will be done. So yeah, you're going to go through those moments where it's like, man, Abba, please help me. If you can, let me not go through this, but let thy will be done. And then you go through it, be like, you know what, Abba, the water for putting me through it. Because now I'm able to withstand, and I was able, because I went through that test. Now that I'm, facing this right here, it's nothing. Because I already have that experience. I already know how to detach. I already know that I'm going to take some losses. Everything becomes easier. So Yahweh Shai was like, man, I'm good. And now he sits on the right of the Most High. He conquered. He conquered death and beyond. Right? And he gave us a chance to come back and reconnect with the Most High. Right? So go ahead and actually let me finish some of this. Continuous improvement, right? Good employees are always looking for ways to expand their skills and expertise, embracing lifelong learning and adapting to change. And a real good employee is going to look, analyze, and create his own business, right? A branch. Because you're going to be like, well, I thought we were about Abba's business. Oh, yeah, but guess what? You have all these different churches. You got all these different offices that you got to handle. You're going to now be like, guess what? If you were in the dairy business, you're going to be, you're going to have an offshoot of that same business. We about saving souls in this business. You could expand, be like, you know what? I'm going to move to another state. Okay, well then, do what we do here. Do it out there. We're going to go to another country. Guess what? Do the same thing. And if you come up with better methods that work, let us know. Because that's what brothers and sisters be doing. You hear people on the phone that are really about Abba's business constantly talking to one person, talking to another one. Hey, what's up with this? What's up with that? How about this? Guess what? I got this. Guess what? I found a plug for this. This is cheaper than that. This is a better, better quality. That's how you look at businesses. Businesses that thrive, they're always looking for the better product and the least expensive, right? When you ship, who's shipping, Well, they charge this to get it from here to this point. Let's go with them. I mean, it's so many, you're always plotting and thinking and brainstorming on how to make that business better, which is what Yahweh Shai was doing. He was analyzing everything. He was looking at all the different Pharisees, Sadducees, right? Like, man, you guys is off. I got to make sure that I come through and gear up my brothers and sisters, because sisters were also rolling with them, to be able to bring the people back to where they need to be. This is the thing with these camps that people have a issue with. Oh, all the camps are, they got different doctrines, different this, different that. Well, I mean, if you really seek the scriptures and understand and ask for the Most High to show you what facts and what doctrine is actually what the scriptures talk about, he will. Again, look at character too. Don't look at numbers. Most High was never about numbers. But and there's various other things, right? The state of mind, a positive attitude is always going to be contagious, right? Perspective and being self-motivated, accountable and responsible, strong work ethic, right? Respectful, emotionally intelligent, all these things. I mean, you read about it, but isn't that all in the scriptures? Charitable, right? Yahweh Shai said, man, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto, and he gave us all these examples. How to be a good host. That's in the scriptures and the parables, and it's also in the Apocrypha. How, be charitable. Visit the brothers in prison, the sick, right? Help the needy. This is Abba's business. Doing these things is what it is to be about your Father's business. I mean, the list goes on. Like, we could be here forever, but let's go to Esdras now. 3. 1 through 16.
This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 3 and verse 1. In the 13th year after the ruin of the city, I was in Babylon. I lay troubled upon my bed, and my thoughts came up over my heart. For I saw the desolation of Zion and the wealth of them that dwelt at Babylon. And my spirit was sore moved, so that I began to speak words full of fear to the Most High, and said, O Lord, who bearest rule, thou speakest at the beginning when thou didst plant the earth, and that thyself alone and commandest the people, and gavest a body unto Adam without soul, which was the workmanship of thine hands, and didst breathe into him the breath of life.
So imagine, what is Ezra doing that we just read about in Joshua? He's meditating, right? And he knows his history. He knows Israel's history. And he knows the law. And he's out here in captivity, and he's like, man, I'm looking at the state of my people. This is bad. Now he's troubled. He's asking the Most High. He's talking to the Most High like, man, you did this. You did this for Adam. Mind you, he Israel. You're talking about Adam, right? Go ahead.
And didst breathe into him the breath of life, and he was made living before thee. And thou leddest him into paradise, which with thy right hand had planted, before ever the earth came forward. And unto him thou gavest commandments to love thy way.
He gave us what?
Commandment to love thy way.
This is Adam. Adam. Adam was not an Israelite. He gave him commandment, right? To what?
To love thy way, which he transgressed, and immediately thou appointest death in him and his generations.
Again, that's why when you read in Esdras, what is it, 6 and 54, he says, you have created everything, including Adam, right? And then it says, and the people you chose. So that's why, you read in the New Testament, you got the first Adam, the second Adam. It was always there's always been a chosen one with the Most High. He says, this Adam, what did he do? He transgressed, and immediately he appointed death in him and in his generations. Go ahead.
Of whom came nations, tribes, people, and kindreds out of number. Verse 8. And every people walked after their own will, and did wonderful things before thee, and despised thy commandment. And again, in process of time, thou broughtest the flood upon those that dwelt in the world, and destroyest them.
So no matter where we go, this is a roll call of the history, right? Ezra is going in on it. And he's like, look, you did this, you did that. We strayed away. Well, it wasn't Israel again, right before that, right? And what happened? The whole world was flooded. And you're going to say, who made it? The righteous, right? Go ahead.
Verse 10. And it came to pass in every of them that death was to Adam, so was the flood to these. Nevertheless, one of them thou leftest, namely Noah, with his household, of whom came all righteous men.
So the point that I'm going through this is because before Israel existed, it was always the same thing. Righteous. He's dealing with righteous brothers. Not only because you Israel, not because you were the son of Adam or the son of Noah. Because remember, the sons of Noah, they were in there putting in work. Their wives, they were putting in work. Right? Eventually, things happen, which is we're going to read about it in a minute, but that's the whole point. He gave a commandment. He said, follow through with this, you're going to be good. You go against it, you're going to get what you deserve, right? Go ahead.
Verse 12. And it happened that when they that dwelt upon the earth began to multiply, and had gotten them many children, and were a great people, they began again to be more ungodly than the first. Now when they lived so wickedly before thee, thou didst choose thee a man from among them, whose name was Abraham. Him thou lovest, and unto him only thou showedest thy will.
Look at how special our forefather was, right? Man, it's deep. That's why when we going through these little things again, it's nothing. We got to look at it like, man, you know what? I'm not even going through what our forefathers went through. Even just going back to captivity, the slavery, the conquest, the conquista. We're not in those in those days. We have it easy when you think about it. The war is up here mainly because we pretty much spoiled up in this place. Even when you look at the rest of Israel that's scattered throughout the four corners, man, they in a bad condition. That's why you see them being happier than we are out here. We have more than them, but then, they're seeking the Most High with their whole heart. Because they're living through it like, man, but we need you. We out here what? Waxing fat and kicking, right? We out here like, you know what? We good. We straight. Nah. We got to look at it like, guess what? We serving time. Time, we don't know how long each one of us has, right? Make it count. We need to make it count. So he's looking at all this, right? And then he says, and then you chose one whose name was Abraham, right? That he was the only one that he called him his friend, man. The Most High was dealing with him like that, right? Go ahead.
Verse 14, him thou lovest, and unto him only thou showedest thy will, and madest an everlasting covenant with him, promising him that thou wouldest never forsake his seed. And unto him thou gavest Isaac, and unto Isaac thou gavest Jacob and Esau. As for Jacob, thou didst choose him to thee, and put by Esau. And so Jacob became a great multitude.
So again, brother knew his history. Brother knew everything, like a lot of us do, right? Jump down to 21.
Verse 21, for the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart, transgressed, and was overcome, and so be all they that are born of him. Thus infirmity was made permanent, and the law also in the heart of the people, with the malignity of the root, so that the good departed away, and the evil abode still.
So you see how he was looking at life? How we be looking at it, right? Man, evil has overwhelmed the world. It's here, it's worse. I mean, he's painting it clearly for us, right? Look, this generation was bad, then it got worse, then the next one was even worse. So where we at now? We real bad. You said, man, Sodom and Gomorrah had it easy compared to how we gonna have it. Imagine that. And Sodom and Gomorrah was pretty bad. But you see what we have now, right? It's beyond. So he was letting us know, when we read this, he's letting us know that, look, I know my history, I know everything, and I know it's gotten worse and worse every generation. Go ahead, Ak.
Verse 23, so the times passed away, and the years were brought to an end. Then didst thou raise thee up a servant called David.
All right, jump down to 29.
Verse 29, for when I came thither and had seen impieties without number, then my soul saw many evildoers in this 13th year, so that my heart failed me.
So this right here, you start looking at things like that and meditating, right? And you start looking at the reality of things, but at the same time, you're being played. Esdras, you're going to see what he responds right now in verse 4, the angel, right? But this is what happens to a lot of us. The difference is that we can't compare to Esdras, right? But we can't compare in the state of mind that we be in sometimes when we start meditating, looking around and be like, man, Abba, like, this is going on. They're good. We're not. What's going on? When is our turn, right? Most High is going to let them know right now. He's like, listen, what you got to understand, my ways are not your ways. My thoughts are not your thoughts. So instead of you focusing on that, focus on what you really need to focus on, which is coming and bringing the people together, right? Teaching them this law, staying steadfast, and pushing forth. But continue on that.
Verse 30, for I have seen how thou sufferest them sinning, and hast spared wicked doers, and has destroyed thy people, and has preserved thine enemies, and has not signified it.
Imagine that. Our people start looking at that, right? Well, they got it better than us. Look at them sinning. I'm going through this. They're not. At that point, a lot of our people be like, you know what? They don't say it, but they start going back. Because they're like, you know what? You're checking us, Abba, and we're trying to do right. People start saying, man, I'm such a good person. I don't know why these things keep happening to me. Low key, sometimes most of the time when you say that, you're not that good person that you think you are. Because a humble individual is not even really going to, they're not going to say that. They're going to be like, Abba, let thy will be done. Yeah, let thy will be done. You know what? Let me learn from whatever it is that I'm going through. But this is what happens. What Esdras is going through right now is what happens to a lot of us. Again, Esdras is really locked in. He's really trying to get answers. A lot of us use this as an excuse to do that 180 back into the world, back into that filth, into that vomit, right? But continue on that.
Verse 31, I do not remember how this way may be left. Are they then of Babylon better than they of Zion?
Imagine that. Ezra is really asking this. Man, are these heathens better than us? It happens though. Am I lying? It happens. Man, you know what? I mean, it happened when we came out into the wilderness. Man, we was good out there. You brought us out here to die. Man, not understanding, no. Building you up. We're building that character. Well, Yahweh was still building that character in us. Right? Continue on.
Or is there any other people that knoweth thee beside Israel? Or what generation hath so believed thy covenants as Jacob? And yet the reward appeareth not, and their labor had no fruit. For I have gone here and there through the heathen, and I see that they flow in wealth, and think not upon thy commandments. Weigh thou therefore our wickedness now in the balance, and theirs also that dwell in the world. And so shall thy name nowhere be found but in Israel. Or when was it that they which dwell upon the earth have not sinned in thy sight? Or what people have so kept thy commandments? If thou shalt find that Israel by name hath kept thy precepts, but not the heathen.
You see that? It happens, right? He's like, man, Abba, like, we're doing all these works, and it's not benefiting us. But you look at the sinful individuals, the heathen, man, they flow in wealth. I go to Beverly Hills, I go to Hollywood, West Hollywood, wherever they live, right? They good. So what was happening to Esdras at this point? He was losing the focus, the big picture, right? Which happens to us a lot of times. That's why, look, read 4:1.
This is 2 Esdras chapter 4 and verse 1. And the angel that was sent unto me, whose name was Uriel, gave me an answer and said, Thy heart hath gone too far in this world, and thinkest thou to comprehend the way of the Most High?
Esdras was getting caught up. He was forgetting that this was the promise from the jump. But remember, he knew it though, because we read about it. We didn't read the whole chapter, but he's like, man, you did this happened, and this happened. They were with the Most High, they were good. Then they forsook the Most High, and you did this to them. You did this to Adam. Then this happened to Noah. Then you came across Abraham, and then to Jacob. We know the history, but he was disconnected now. He was looking at the wrong things, right? It's like that wealth don't really matter, because guess what? If you understand, which again, it happens to us, you know what? Why am I going to do all these works if at the end of the day, look at my life? Your life is the state of mind that you have up there, right? Because, I mean, when you sit down and talk to certain people that are going through things that are heavier than whatever you're going through, but their focus is still on lot, they don't worry about it. They don't dwell on those things. They look at it like, you know what? Cool. All praises to the Most High. You know what? At the end of the day, I got to focus on that mission. This right here, I can't let it bother me. It's like your pops or your moms. We probably understand now, but back in the day, you see them, they come, probably work 2 shifts. They wouldn't eat, whatever, but guess what? Bills were paid, there was food on the table. Why? Because they had a responsibility. We have a responsibility to be about Abba's business. Not only the older folks, but also the younger folks. Everybody gotta put in their brick, right? Again, so Psalm 78, that's what it states. It's like, listen, make sure you teach them day and night that at the end of the day, they put their trust in the Most High, right? And not on their own mentality or the system or the government, whatever else they have as a focus. So they don't be like their wicked forefathers, right? So again, you got to understand what the point is, because he said, man, thy heart hath gone too far in this world, and thinkest thou to comprehend the way of the Most High? And Esdras was still, because remember, Esdras had a good intention, right? But it happens to the best of Israelites. If it happened to Esdras, who are we? Except, again, we use it as an excuse to fall back into the world. You see it plenty of times where it's like, man, you know what? It's crazy. I'm not exaggerating, but talking about happiness. I want to pursue happiness, pursue happiness. You check in on these folks months, years later, you don't even got to speak to them. You see their countenance. They ain't happy. The grass was not greener on the other side. And you already understand that in this walk, you're going to be tried through the fire. It says it's a difficult walk in a sense, as far as how you got to make sure you make it through, right? It says one at a time. That's what the scriptures talk about, you know. Go to Philippians. Philippians 2:12.
There's the book of Philippians, chapter 2 and verse 12. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
He's not just saying that because he felt like saying something, right? Paul understood it. Our brothers understood exactly what this walk was about. That's why Romans 8 and 18 is like, listen, whatever you're going through right now, you can't even compare it to what you will receive if you make it at the end. So again, you look at life as like, you know what? Yeah, it's tough, but let me ask the Most High for help. Let me be amongst my people for encouragement and support, right? And let me trust in the Most High. Let me put all my worries in the hands of the Most High. It's not easy, but once you do it, man, Most High got you. Most High got you, and guess what? Your doubt leaves you. You really trust in the Most High, and you start seeing life from a different perspective. You start connecting again to what the mission was from the jump, from the get-go, right? Let me get, well, I want to read some of this right here. Let's see. When you go and read 2 Esdras 4, you see that he was going back and forth with Uriel, right? And he was still asking. And he says, look, I'm going to give you 3 different things, 3 riddles to solve, basically, right? And Esdras was stuck like, man, I can't do that. So he was like, okay, so if you can't understand the things that are celestial, right? I mean, if you can't understand, if you can't, he asked them to weigh the weight of fire, to give him the weight of fire, right? Or measure the blast of the wind, right? Or call back the day that has passed. He's like, man, I can't do none of this. He's like, if these are things that you witness and experience and have known all your life and don't know how to solve them, how to give me the answer, how are you going to understand the thoughts of the Most High? So basically he was telling them, look, focus on what your duty is. Go back to doing what you need to be doing and stick to that. Because the more you search, read, is that 11? Nice. Read 26.
2 Esdras chapter 4 and verse 26. Then answered he me and said, the more thou searchest, the more thou shalt marvel. For the world hasteth fast to pass away, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in time to come. For this world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities.
So again, remember the promises were given. This world is going to be so chaotic to the point the Most High says, I'm going to burn it. I'm going to burn it to the ground. I'm going to get rid of all the wickedness here. So he's like, don't lose sense and don't lose focus of what it is that you need to be focused on again, right? So it says, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in time to come. For this world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities. Go ahead.
Verse 28. But as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee, For the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come.
Go ahead.
If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that it's sown with good. For the grain of evil seed had been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning. And how much ungodliness has it brought up to this time? And how much shall it yet bring forth unto the time of threshing come? Ponder now by thyself how great fruit the wickedness, fruit of wickedness the grain of evil seed had brought forth.
So he's letting them know, look, think about these things. Meditate on this, right? Go ahead.
Verse 32, and when the ears shall be cut down, which are without number, how great a floor shall they fill? Then I answered and said, how and when shall these things come to pass?
Is what a lot of us be asking now. When is the second exile? When is Yahweh Shai coming back? When this, when that? It's like, listen, Esdras, think and imagine what I'm telling you. The promises were laid out. Yahweh said this is going to happen, and then this is going to happen. Not only the 2/3, but everybody else that's been wicked. Imagine how that floor is going to look of all these wicked individuals that are going to perish, right? And then his question is like, when is this going to happen? Go ahead.
Wherefore are our years few and evil? And he answered me, saying, do not hasten above the Most Highest, for thy haste is in vain to be above him, for thou hast much exceeded. Did not the souls of the righteous ask questions of these things in their chambers, saying?
So you read about this in what is it? Revelation 6, right? He's letting you know, look, did not the souls also of the righteous ask questions of these things in their chambers, saying? Go ahead.
How long shall I hope on this fashion? When cometh the fruit of the floor of our reward? And unto these things Uriel the archangel gave them answer and said, even when the number of seats is filled in you, for he hath weighed the world in the balance.
Listen to this.
By measure hath he measured the times, and by number hath he numbered the times. And he does not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled.
So he's letting them know, like, listen, like Matthew states, right? Of that day and that hour, no man knows. What you got to worry about is doing your part. Because even Esdras was like, man, my days are evil and few. Like, man, I could be dead tomorrow. Because remember, before that, in chapter 3, he was like, man, you know, Israel's been doing all these works, and we still don't see our recompense. But the wicked, they flourish. So the whole point is disconnect from that state of mind. Be about the Most High's business. Imagine a lot of people looked and was like, damn, really? That's Yahweh Shai dedicated his whole life to doing the Most High's business, and look at what he got at the end. From the carnal perspective, you're like, man, he got crucified. He got put to death. The spiritual eye is going to be like, man, you know what? Man, he did that. He conquered death. And now, the second coming, he earned his seat as the second in command to come judge, right? Everything that exists in this world. So, again, being about Abba's business, you got to look at the scriptures also talk about setting a standard, doing things decently and in order, right? We got to start disconnecting from the state of mind that we've been having our whole lives, basically, right? Being comfortable, doing things mediocre. You got to look at it like, nah, you know what? There's a big picture. The big picture is that kingdom, the promises, right? Everything. Imagine being able to see, give it 5 years, the generation that's young right now, the way Israel's moving, at least the immediate ones around us, right? You already see it. If you're paying attention to them, you already see it. Their state of mind is different. Their state of mind is different from, you know, the rest of the world. Even brothers here, sisters here that are moving and really seeing the big picture, you see the state of mind. Is going through that circumcision that the Most High talked about in Deuteronomy 30, right? So again, when we start pushing it and really, really living it and really believing it, your work ethic increases, it gets better, right? Your production gets better, And again, you do everything. You try to do everything in a professional way. You don't Mickey Mouse things, right? You don't, you know what I mean? You don't do things. Yep. Let's get Luke 2:49 and then Titus. But again, it's not just in one thing, one aspect, only at the congregation. It's in everything you do. Even at work. You work out there. They're looking at you. How they say, right, when you think nobody's watching, somebody is watching you. And it'll be down maybe a couple months, years, be like, man, you that guy, right? Yeah, man, I see how you move. People will come at you. You never thought they existed and saw how you were operating. But guess what? That's being about Abba's business, because if you were really always in line with the Most High, they're going to look at you. They're going to look at you, and eventually you're going to encourage, or what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, that too. You will inspire somebody, or you will basically through your works and your deeds, the way that you move, pretty much inspire. That's like you fishing out there. You're going to set that example, and guess what? That's going to make them gravitate to what you're about. You know? I hear brothers always going out there and doing jobs and always going in and talking about the law, right? Next thing you know, brothers is inquiring. At that point, whether they hear or whether they not, guess what? They know they're not blind no more. They have no excuse. But when people really look at you, you see people come through. They come through as guests. They scope out the scene, the get down, and it's like, nah, you know what? These brothers are really about it. And these sisters are with the business. So guess what? I want to be part of it. And that's how you grow the nation, right? But go ahead, get Luke 2:49.
There's the book of Luke, chapter 2 and verse 49. And he said unto them, how is it that ye sought me? Wist ye not that I must be about my Father's business?
Mm-hmm. So again, Yahushua knew. Let's go to Titus 2:6. Yahushua, imagine, he was 12 years old when he said this. He said, man, I'm about my Father's business. Did you forget? Are you not aware? I must be about his business. Showing you again how we lose focus, how we lose track. It's easy. All of us do it. That's why we got to have each other amongst each other, be amongst each other so we could check each other and encourage each other. Like, look, listen, whatever you got here is cool, but the focus is this. Do more of this and less of that. Actually, let me get Matthew 6:33 before we go there. That was the point of me bringing out Luke, that Yahushua knew exactly what he was doing, because he said this as well. Go ahead.
There's the book of Matthew, chapter 6 and verse 33. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you.
Exactly. He knew that. He wasn't aware. Remember when the devil came through and tempted him? He's like, man, you going to give me something that's mine already? You tripping. Get behind me. But it happens. It happens. You got these artists nowadays, like, you know what? I'm not signing no contract. I'm doing better as a solo artist, right? As an independent artist. There's some people that put that out into the public, and now they're gone. Because guess what? The powers that be, they don't want you to see it like that. Brothers in the past, you had Prince and a couple other ones that were doing things that didn't make sense to us back in the day. Now you look at it like, man, that's crazy. They were onto something. But a lot of these brothers got put to death. Showing you, listen, you got to be about the Most High's business. You got to do it how it's got to be done. And you can't depend on nobody else but the Most High and his people. And everything's going to be successful. Everything's going to work out. That's why he said, but seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. If you've been here for a couple of years, you can see that. You see brothers that completely dedicated themselves to the business, the works, and you see like, oh, wow, look how things are just falling in place. Sisters falling in place, right? Now get Titus.
There's the book of Titus, chapter 2 and verse 6. Young men, likewise, exhort to be sober-minded.
I'll get one. Salaki.
Verse 1.
Yeah.
Book of Titus, chapter 2 and verse 1. But speak thou the things which become sound doctrine, that the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, in patience. The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed.
Go ahead.
Young men likewise exhort to be sober-minded, in all things showing thyself a pattern of good works, in doctrine, showing uncorruptness, gravity, sincerity, sound speech that cannot be condemned, that he that is of the contrary part may be ashamed, having no evil thing to say of you.
Exactly. That's all part of being about Abba's business, right? So if you have any questions, if you have any issues, how do I do that? That alone, that's a lot. Talks to the elder men, talks to the young men, the elder women, the young women. It's a lot when you really meditate on that. It's a lot of the stuff that we come up short with doing, right, and accomplishing. On both ends, male and female. So again, if we want to be about the Most High's business for real, then we look and analyze these things. Now finish up with Philippians 3 and 8. Again, we're going to take some losses, right? There's going to be people that are going to be upset at us and they don't want to deal with us anymore. But guess what? Look at what Paul said.
This is the book of Philippians, chapter 3 and verse 8. Ye doubtless, and I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Christ Jesus my Lord, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Christ.
Imagine that. See how graphic and how deep it gets, right? He's like, look, at the end of the day, if people, whether it be sons, daughters, husbands, wives, friends, if they're no longer around you, are you still about the Most High's business? It was never meant to be, because it wasn't about you. The scriptures say, do all things as if you're doing them unto the Most High, right? With that understanding and that state of mind, you start taking things for what they are. You don't take them personally. It's not personal, you know? They leave. It wasn't the Most High's will. It wasn't the will in them to seek the Most High, how they were supposed to, right? The Most High right here at the Paul, he was like, listen, at the end of the day, all the losses that I took, I count them as what?
I count them but dung.
What is dung, right? Like nothing. Guess what? It was meant to be. It's not a loss at the end of the day, because he's still with the Most High. He's still with Yahweh Shai, you know, his son and his business. So, you know, with that, we conclude this evening's lesson. And, you know, tune in. We have another class coming up next. And we also have the closing Sabbath class tomorrow at 4:30. We have the bishop at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And, you know, Most High willing, you guys have a blessed Sabbath. Shalom.
If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Mr. Wilson would've known.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yahweh's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking cheap, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never